Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to review Before Your Eyes VR, currently a PSVR2 exclusive. Before Your Eyes originally released on April 8th, 2021 on the Steam store, and even back then it had an interesting gameplay concept. Basically, every time that you blink your eyes, the story moves forward. And the way it worked is that you would need to hook up a camera to your PC. Now you could always disable this feature and you can do it as well on the PSVR2, but obviously that is not the intended gameplay. And while this may seem like a gimmick, it works very well within the narrative of the game. Life flashes before you in the blink of an eye, and this gameplay mechanic also makes the game flash before you within the blink of an eye, making the gameplay mesh with the narrative in a very innovative way. Now, I had already experienced Before Your Eyes on PC, and while I did love the narrative, my biggest complaint was about the inconsistency of the webcam and capturing your blinks. I'm happy to report that it's not an issue on the PSVR2. And if you haven't played Before Your Eyes, I'll say it is one of the best narrative experiences in gaming. Now, it is a very simple story. A lot of that has to do just due to the short length of the experience. It's only about 90 minutes long on your first playthrough, and you may want to do a second playthrough just to get that 100%. You will experience a few different scenes, but the game stays the same for the most part. But due to this length, there's just not a whole lot of depth behind the story, but that's okay because it has a simple message, but it's a very strong message. This is a tearjerker. I don't remember ever crying so much in VR, and keep in mind I had already played this game previously on PC, so the fact that it can make me cry again in VR, even though I already know where the story is going, tells you just how much of an emotional impact this game has. This is a narrative focused game, so if you like that type of game, I strongly recommend this to you. There are some gameplay elements here, but they're all gaze based, and you'll basically be staring at specific things or trying not to blink to keep the scene going, or maybe you do want to blink to get out of that particular scene. It all works seamlessly on the PSVR2 thanks to the eye tracking, and this game is probably the best showcase for that technology. And so while this game is probably best experienced on PSVR2 just for that reason alone, unfortunately I have a hard time thinking of any other reason why this experience is better than the PC or the mobile versions of this game. The biggest weakness to me for this game are the visuals, and the PSVR2 does no favors to this game. I've mentioned before that if a game does not look good, VR is not going to save it. In fact, sometimes VR makes it look worse, and for this game that is exactly the case. The visuals here just do not look good in VR. The 3D visuals just do not pop in VR. The world, the characters look very bland in VR. You're trying to have these very close moments, with your mom, with your dad, with your neighbor, girlfriend, but all you can notice is how much detail is lacking, and they're just big pointy nose that has a different color than the rest of their face, and how it just looks so weird. And there's just some inconsistency here between the art style. You have the cat, the kitten, that's pretty cute, and then you have the wolf who has a nice amount of detail, but then you have your mom, someone that's the central figure in the plot, and she's as plain and bare bones as can possibly be in a game. And honestly, these character models look like something that I might come up if you gave me a weekend to come up with them. The problem is that I have little to no artistic talent, so it is very jarring, and it is a bit immersion breaking in VR when you come across this. And that's the big shame, because if you see my review on Steam on this game, I really like this game. It's got a great story, but when you have visual issues in your game, it just stands out like a sore thumb in VR. And please don't misunderstand, I do recommend this game. I think it is one of the best narrative experiences in VR, but my first impression of this game is, wow, this looks even worse in VR. I'm not sure that's any better than the PC experience. The only saving grace here is the eye tracking and how central it is to the gameplay, and it does make the game better just for that reason alone. I cried like a baby even though I've already played this game before, and so I do recommend it, especially if you've never played it before, but the visuals here really do not stand out in VR in any way. It's also a pretty short experience at only 90 minutes long, and for some reason the price is higher on PSVR2. I really don't understand that at all. As far as the sound mix, I think it's pretty good for the most part. I did notice sometimes it would cut off even without a blink. In my opinion, I think all the voice actors did a wonderful job, and the musical soundtrack is excellent as well. The VR interactions are all gaze-based, but due to the blink mechanic and concept of this game, it just integrates wonderfully into the game, and it really does immerse you in the story. As far as the story, I don't want to give out spoilers, so I'm not gonna go too much into it. I'll just say that I enjoyed it. It is a tearjerker, and I guess as a hint, I'll say that nothing I'm showing is really a spoiler at all. And I had a real tough time editing this video review because I wanted to show so much, but I really scaled back on what I'm showing. But I think I'm showing you enough of the game that I think from watching this video, you'll know whether this game speaks to you or not, and if this is something right up your alley. I do recommend this game, and if I have to absolutely score it, I would give it a 7 out of 10. That's on PSVR2. If you'll notice on my Steam review, I actually gave it a higher score of 8 out of 10. And again, a lot of that just has to do with the visuals and how poor they look in VR compared to my experience on PC. Even though they're the same, it just looks much worse in VR. At least it did to me. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my review for Before Your Eyes PSVR2. If you're into walking simulators or narrative-based gameplay, I strongly recommend this for you.
As you can see, there's some very fast runs
and
in
enjoy
there,
the rest of
and
the
a lot of
video.
stuff I've not taught you properly yet. So no pressure. I just want you to try, and we can see if you start enjoying it. Just like to see you really rise to the occasion, just this once. I wish I had the option of going to a school like that when I was your age. I wouldn't be working this boring job or living in this boring town, I'll tell you that. What was that? Was that the piece? What is going on with you these days? I barely know whose kid you're supposed to be. Oh my God, Benny! What are you thinking? You could have killed us. Don't answer that, Ben. You can talk to your friend after you practice. Oh my God. Is she really calling you again? What, is she obsessed with you? What are you doing? I explicitly asked you not to pick up the phone.
Oh, he's fine. Let him talk to her.
Oh, what do you know about anything that's going on right now?
Okay, you know, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't raise your voice like that.
Well, then don't.
Anubis, in the presence of Ma'at, who you remember is the goddess of truth and justice, would weigh the deceased soul against a feather, determining whether it was worthy of entering into her land of the dead. And what if they are deemed unworthy? Well, you can see that ugly fur ball under the scale? That is Amamet, and she's got...
Mr. Kid.
The head of a crocodile, fur of a lion, see, and the body of a hippopotamus, though I would not say that to her face. Now, as you can see, she is ready to devour any of the...
Ew. Why is he so scared looking?
Okay, I'll call you when I'm leaving my house. You better pick up my call, dude.
Lights out. You need to be rested for tomorrow. Memory consolidates when you're asleep. So if you go to sleep now, you will awaken a master. Trust me. Richard, tell your son to turn the lights off.
Benny, Mom says turn the lights off.
Not Mom says, you say.
Wow, didn't think you'd actually pick up. I mistook you for a baby. I apologize. Okay, so meet me out in the alley in T-minus now, okay? Chloe, out.
You know, I'm really glad you're here. There's something I've been meaning to talk to you about. Or to get off my chest. Okay. I don't think Kongsters is actually a really good game. My cousin Yoon, he was...
In your own time, Benjamin, we are very excited to hear. Okay. I think that's enough.
Maybe I pushed you too hard. Maybe I turned into my own father. I don't know. You have to find something to focus on. The world isn't very kind to people who aren't really good at something.